used to have the alternative funding agreement. We have the modified carrier agreements. We have service contracts. And all of these are similar to the strategic alliance. The only difference being that in the case of the others, the operator provides the funds, whereas in the strategic alliance agreement, the non-operator, a third party, provides the funding.
So comfortable that the NPDC is saying it has not received $6 billion.
Yes, distinguished Chairman, we've taken the comments on board and we're going to align the legal opinion and instruments guiding our relationship with our subsidiaries and then come out clearly with the written submission before 28, which will clearly describe how we operate and how the proceeds are managed by the corporation and NPDC.
What you are saying is that you manage the funds yourself, you don't pass it over to NPDC? As a legal entity, you think that is right?
Well, that is how we're structured and that's how we operate.
Well, we'll make our own judgment as to whether it is right or not.
I was just trying to so that we don't duplicate some of our efforts. Mr. Chairman, if you remember that in the CBN letter and also part of our mandate earlier on, was an issue was raised as regards both issue of loss of revenue and improvement value. If you remember the issue of kerosene, this is what led us. It was trying to explain the loss of revenue that we realized that some of the payments were used for kerosene subsidy. In the CBN letter, he talked about crude oil being taken but not paid for, instead equivalent value of products were received. I think he was making a reference to this transaction that calls crude swap for products. I observed in the briefing so far, no reference has been made to satisfy us whether we have truly received equivalent value. The PPPRA did make use of some products, but again, we don't have any evidence to show that the submission they made on claims for some of these petroleum products met the equivalent value of the crude oil that was lifted. Ditto on the value of the crude oil that was taken for the purpose of the swap. Again, what is the appropriate value? So what I think also, so that because I know that in the same committee we have this reference, is whether NNPC can provide for us the value of these crude oil under these transactions, ditto the petroleum products that PPPRA are satisfied as coming out of the swap transaction, and at the same time the agreements to support it, so that again we don't need to call the Attorney General back again. He can also make a comment on those agreements to ensure that they satisfy some of our requests, because I know this will come out later under some of the brief we've been given by the Senate, that this might be an opportunity for the NNPC to shed more light on this. If they're not ready, then they can just submit the documents that are required for us to review it, so that we don't go back and forth. And if there's need for a forensic audit on that to be done as well, we can review this during this period of time. I thought that this might be, I don't know whether the NNPC wants to respond to that or request that some of this information will be submitted to us, and then we can look at it and ask the necessary questions at that time.
We'll go back and check whether they were part of what we submitted last week, and if they are not, then we'll be guided by the committee.
So that we don't lose track of what you have said. Distinguished Senator, if you can...
Yeah, what I'm saying...
Just a moment.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say that, since I'm going back to check, I don't want just to leave it at that. You know what you said. If you can draft a letter on behalf of the committee raising these issues and question for what, then I will send that letter as a follow-up, so that as they go back to do that, they have a clear understanding of what the questions were and what we are requiring from them. Is that
I think that when Sanusi was here, he said now that he hired three sons to look into the program. Is it the rule of CBN not to refer to the Attorney General?
We do, but as you are aware, because the number of cases that we have, it's not possible that it's not practically possible that in all cases we go to the Attorney General, for legal, services. So we have a litany of legal advice that we use. That's for expediency as well. But we do go to him as well, but we also use other channel councils.
An issue of government to government, what stopped you going to the Attorney General? It's not like some other separate entity was determined.
Like I said, it's a matter of practice. Again, for experience and for, I don't want to be critical. I mean, not that we have had any instance of a situation where we sought for legal advice from the Attorney General and we didn't get it time. But for speed and experience, we use legal counsels, and in this matter, they were just charged. We didn't have any reason not to go to the Attorney General.
Where they are confronted with an issue, government to government, the Attorney General's position differs with a private legal opinion. What do you do?
I will, like I said, it's a matter of practice. I think the point is not that we will use both.
Government. The Attorney General's position differs with a private solicitor's opinion. What would the position of the central bank be? Not be.
Okay, that's easy. We would, as is being done today, we will approach the Attorney General with the views of our council, and in all instances, if you do that, the Attorney General so we can. I mean, because that's the government's legal advice.
Yeah, it seems you people don't want to.
You can tell us the right you don't know. But we don't want you believe. If you believe, you have to tell us what it is. If you don't know, you have to tell us you don't know. The NNPC want similar information as to what, in their own opinion, out of that 6 billion belongs to Federation account. And if it has been remitted, we want evidence that it has been remitted to the Federation account accordingly. The NPDC, we want a written submission on how much they have received to fund whatever for the period under consideration. That is January 2012 to July 2013. Equally, NNPC, because of the difference in position we have had from NNPC and NPDC, NNPC on their own, independent of NPDC, will make a detailed submission on the 6 billion. Don't be that what you have told us, right? We also want to receive from you details on the 2 billion third-party financing. And the details include identity, how much for each, and evidence that such was remitted or paid to them, and where we are. Now, since you have all agreed to submit all of these, latest by March 28th. Sorry. Thank you very much. By February 28th, we are going to adjourn this to March 6, 2014 at 10 a.m. and it is our sincere hope that all addresses will be completed, because the meeting is adjourned to March 6, 2014, 7 a.m.
Okay.